Welcome into the Tuesday edition of the Top 5. I'm Paul Catalina, and this is my Top 5. See, that's my name right there. You can spelled correctly and everything. Every single day. Brought to you by Texas Beef House. Use our promo code 365sports. Today, Top 5 Hard Truths. Number 5. Seventh-year quarterbacks are not a good idea. I'm looking at you, Utah and Oklahoma State, and anybody else with a seventh-year quarterback. But this is kind of the issue here. If they're good and healthy and should be playing football by the time they're 25 or 26 years old, most of the time, those people are professional football players in the National Football League, the UFL, or the Canadian Football League. If you have to bring back a guy for a seventh year, that is not necessarily good news. And I thought it would be with Cam Rising, and it might still be. But guess what? Cam Rising, in their first major test of the season against a conference foe, broke his finger just before halftime, and we've seen nary a peek of him since. So, seventh-year QBs, not necessarily a good idea. I'll just say aren't. I don't think you should bet on that. It stops development of quarterbacks, and you should be focusing on developing players. Number 4, Lincoln Riley needs to find his footing again. Yes, he's improved the defense, but somehow now the offense has suffered a little bit, and they're out of whack. He's got to find some balance. Do I think Lincoln Riley is in trouble right now? No, but I do think the Big Ten's been more of a rude awakening than he ever expected, especially after they lose to Minnesota and P.J. Fleck the other night. By the way, P.J. Fleck was as angry for 10 seconds as I've ever seen a person yelling at the official at the end of that game. But USC falling to Minnesota after they had this good start where everybody's kind of confident about them, got the win over LSU in Vegas. But since then, things have been really, really scattershot for the Trojans, and the defense playing well. The offense, surprisingly enough, even with a quarterback as good as Miller Moss, is just not quite there, which is shocking for Lincoln Riley. Maybe he's got to adjust some things because maybe his system has been figured out. Number 3, portal shopping is a bad episode of Let's Make a Deal. Look, for every Cam Ward out there, there's a DJU. There's probably 10 DJUs. There's a bunch of people who probably shouldn't be playing at this level or just aren't great. You should be supplementing. But when you start portal shopping, especially at the quarterback position, it is definitely a bad episode of Let's Make a Deal, where behind door number 1 is a Porsche, behind door number 3 is $50,000, and behind door number 2 is just an old horse. And that's what you get a lot of the time in the portal when it comes to QB shopping, when it comes to shopping at all. We've got to see more development of players from the high school level on up. There's been a bit of a decrease in that in the last couple of years because the portal is so convenient for some teams. But you're starting to see in the parity that's popping up, some of these teams are going up and down really fast because they went shopping almost exclusively at the portal, and that's no way to sustain success. Number 2, parity is here and it will only grow. Vanderbilt beats Bama. Arkansas beats Tennessee. A&M beats Missouri. Top 10 teams are no longer as easily protected by their mystique anymore. Because of the portal, like I just said, and because of all the other things going on in college football, you've got an unregulated free agency system. And because of that, people are hopping around and you can't hoard talent. There's not as much depth at places, and you can get good players all over the place because they want to play right away and not wait. And because of that, you're going to see more losses like Alabama had to Vanderbilt and Tennessee had to Arkansas. Those things are coming more and more and more, and you need to adjust your vision on college football to make it more like you view the NFL. Losses are going to happen. Losses to teams you don't think you should lose to are going to happen, and peaks and valleys are going to happen a whole lot more. Because to be able to build a dynasty, you have to be able to hoard players for a long time, and that's just not happening all over the place in college football. Number 1, Greg Sankey is trying to leave the world in the dust. And guess what? It's working. When Vanderbilt beats Alabama, we have 3 top 10 teams lose, all in conference, all in the same week. That's actually good news for the SEC because it means that, guess what? They may really be the best conference top to bottom. If Vanderbilt can beat Alabama and Arkansas can beat Tennessee, and then it can all happen again in another week, as long as those losses don't pile up and you have a 3 or 4 loss champion, the SEC is going to be just fine. And with 16 teams in the league, that's unlikely to happen because nobody's playing the same schedule. So, Greg Sankey, well ahead of everybody. Last week I had him as Dr. Evil. This week I'm going with Montgomery Burns because I'm really feeling that that's the vibe that he's got more of right there with Montgomery Burns. Excellent. That's going to do it for this top 5. We say adios for the day right now.